are you, honey? I'd hightail it back to that cozy little mall of yours as fast as your little legs can carry you.
I can't.
Scared of facing the father? What's he gonna do, beat you up or something?
No, he's not like that.
But he doesn't want the kid.
He doesn't know.
You mean you haven't told him?
There's somebody else.
Oh, all right. He's in love with someone else.
No.
Uh-huh. And this other guy
Doesn't love me.
You really know how to screw up big time, don't you?
Alright, so welcome to Series 2, Episode 46 of Conversations on Eagle Mountain, a podcast about the tribe. I'm your host Lance, and joining the podcast panel today is Liz.
Hello.
Sabine.
Hi.
And Colin.
Howdy.
With episode notes done by Matt and myself. So Series 2, Episode 46, the screenplay was done by Anthony Reed. It was directed by Julian McSweeney, and the episode synopsis was read out by Liz.
Ebony becomes increasingly suspicious of her own militia, pushing Alice further into danger to investigate them, and May has some advice for Celine.
After the bombshell moment of intuition that May threw at Celine in a previous episode, the continuing conversation between the two of them throws things sideways as we get near confirmation that Celine actually knew that she was pregnant. She tells May that she didn't tell Ryan and that she's in love with someone else. So panel, we need to unpack this because it throws a lot into question. What does this say about Celine's recent motivations, having known that she was actually pregnant?
Oh my goodness. The more I think about this, the more I think that she might have actually thrown herself at Bray in hopes of being able to pass off this baby as his.
That was my initial thought. It's hard not to think that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Because she kind of knows that. She knows how Bray was in looking after his niece. So chances are he would be even nicer if someone was pregnant with his baby. Or at least in her mind he would be. So yeah, I think that was her motivation.
I cannot believe that I was 43 years old before I realized that Celine knew that she was pregnant.
Mm.
That's what I learned today. I mean, I've seen this episode so many times, and for some reason, my brain just sort of glossed over that detail, just missed it in the conversation. I just thought, oh, she's surprised. She's surprised to find out. Maybe she suspected on some level. Maybe it was one of those low-level, back-of-your-mind kind of fears that every female has. But yeah, I didn't realize. I never realized that Celine, basically what she's saying is insinuating that, yeah, she knew she was pregnant and just didn't choose it. Because it's such a weird way to respond when May asks her, why haven't you told the father, you know? And instead of saying, I didn't know, I didn't realize, which is what most of us would say in this situation. And it's like, why wouldn't she say that? That's the reason she didn't tell Ryan, right? Like, because she's supposed to have not known. But for her to say, there's somebody else. And I'm like, oh my gosh, wait, Celine. Oh, wait a minute. What? How deep does this dark pit of evil inside of you go? I'm just, because I don't even have time to wrap my head around this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just knocked me off my foundation of what I knew about her, and the things that she'd be willing to do. And there's so many things Celine's willing to do, but this is the one that feels nefarious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
truly malicious, not, oh, she just can't help her herself or, you know, whatever. It's like, this is a lot darker than anything else. And then what she's going to do next, it's just like, what the hell? Like, what is wrong with you?
And then how she tells May, how do you know that I'm pregnant? Like, her response is more of a, but I didn't tell anyone, so how do you know this? You know?
Yeah. She wanted this kept secret while she planned her life. I mean, I don't know where to start. Like,
Yeah.
I want to try, like, okay, let's try and play devil's advocate. Let's just say that Celine didn't know, but even if she, with her answers, she's still implying that even if she didn't realize she was pregnant until this very moment with May, that she still wouldn't want to tell Ryan because there's someone else. Like, that's what her answer is saying to you. Like, regardless, it's still really, really messed up whether she knew or didn't know. It's like, Celine, like, oh my gosh, what is? Oh, girl, I've run out of defenses for you. What is going on?
I don't think there is any left here. I mean, she even tells May that when May asks her if she's crazy for running out on Ryan in her condition, Celine's instant response is, "Well, maybe I am."
And that's even more messed up because I mean, she's very self-aware of what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
She's not confused about her actions.
Mhm.
She's aware that what she's doing is messed up and doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Especially the way she keeps defending Ryan in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
She's adamant that he's a great guy. And it's just not something. I'm just saying, if I was in Celine's position and I had done some shady stuff to my ex, who was a good person, and someone was calling me out on it, I'd be a lot more defensive for myself. I wouldn't be like, "Oh, they were wonderful and I was garbage." I would be like, "Wait, hey, it's more complicated. We collectively as a couple had problems." You know what I mean? I wouldn't just like make it clear, "Oh no, I'm a sack of crap." Like,
and I think May's response says it all, really. With a, "Oh boy, you really know how to screw up big time, don't you?"
that really felt like the writers. Like, this was one of the most meta conversations. Anybody who, is like, "Oh, Celine's confused, Celine just, blah, blah." They literally have May do a rundown of Celine's awfulness. So that Celine can be like, "Yeah, I'm all of those things." So true.
You know how that line felt like to me? It actually reminded me of something Celine tells Trudy in one of the first episodes with a, "Oh, you really don't believe in making things easy for yourself, do you?" When Trudy says he's a vegetarian, she can't eat the food and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just that straight out there honest answer with no filters. I like it.
Yeah, I had no idea that she knew after all this time, but it honestly, yeah, it's so dark, it's so misplaced that it feels like, would she really say? Well, I mean, I know she said it, but it kind of doesn't feel like Celine to me. Almost as if like, wow, season 2 is like your worst self. But yeah, she just needs help at this point. She needs counseling. The writers are very much against Celine this season.
Yeah, well, they needed someone else to pick on.
2 is an exercise of exploration. It's almost what do they call it? A deconstruction of the hero, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
The season 1 portrayed our heroes as human, but in general they were good. As a whole. You know what I mean? The group as a whole, and weren't looking to cause any harm to anybody. And we see them go out. The season goes out with them on a very heroic note, really, what these kids were willing to do to find the answers, which was a lot more than a lot of other kids were willing to do in the face of a second wave of possible death, or not possible, sorry, just a second wave of death. The Mallrats are one of the few people we actually see doing something about it and risking their lives to do it. And that's a high note for them to go on. And they're our heroes. They're our protagonists. We're rooting for them. And season 2 is just all about deconstructing that hero. Not only does it portray them as human, but very broken and messed up humans. And that you shouldn't put anybody on a pedestal at all. No matter what good deeds they might accomplish, at the end of the day, they are just human. And so Celine's not the only one who gets it. Like, everybody gets it. But it is just interesting, just the swerve, the journey we've been taken on with these Mallrats.
It does make sense, though. I mean, these kids have been through so much. So, for them to have this dark side to them, this selfishness, yeah, it makes sense.
May and Celine's whole scene can be chalked up to, "You're an idiot, Celine." That's what
Yep.
May is there for. She's just like, you and your first world problems. You're a moron.
Yeah.
I'm
Basically.
living in a dumpster.
No, that's very true.
Yeah.
And you're running around playing the Hunger Games with your pregnancy over here. Like, come on, girl.
Yeah, get over yourself and get a grip, honey.
That is a fantastic comparison because May is absolutely confused as to why Celine ran away from the mall when Ryan would absolutely support her 100% with the baby. Telling her that she could have Ryan eaten out of her hand, she convinces Celine to return and offers to go back with her, seemingly eager to see Lex again. See, let's talk about that bit. Like, what do you think about May's advice and Celine's reaction to obviously being able to get Ryan back in this way? What do you think?
Here it comes. Here it comes.
Mhm.
Celine, you are a sack of Gosa for what you're about to do.
Hmm.
I don't know why. I wonder if it's May basically laying it right out, holding this mirror to Celine's face that makes her realize, okay, I am really being stupid. I've gone about this the wrong way. That makes her feel like, yeah, I can go back. I have to go about this a different way because this doesn't reflect well on me. Because it does seem strange that she suddenly, I just thought she was willing to go back because she realized she was pregnant and couldn't go off and do whatever she was going to do. Because for Celine, this was not something she felt she could do alone. But now, my realization that Celine always knew, I feel like it's more somebody making her realize her plan was ludicrously stupid and that she has to approach this from a new way. It's not, no matter how she slices it, May has made it clear to her, it's not going to look good for you. And, if I don't even know you and I recognize that you're a moron, so I don't know how you think this is going to play out for you. And that seems to be the catalyst for her going back and coming up with a new plan. Sorry. Just what she does. It's so horrible. I have to laugh, but it actually infuriates me that she does what she does and never ever use pregnancy to manipulate another person ever. One, the kid doesn't deserve it, but nobody deserves to be manipulated due to a pregnancy. I don't care who you are,
But yeah, the fact that she does return after what May says, yeah, I think May's advice in the kind of world they're in is the best advice he could give anyone in Celine's situation. Look, you're pregnant, you're gonna have a baby, you need someone to look after you, and here's this cushy place with food, a roof over your head, people to take care of you, and even a dad for the kid that will like the kid. So yeah, May paints it as a very clear picture that that's the best thing Celine can do in this situation.
She kind of slaps her in the face with her narcissism.
Yeah.
You're carrying another life, and it's like, you don't have to be with Ryan and Pete, but you do need to have this baby in a safe place. You have to do right by this child. Do you really think running around on the streets with nowhere to go is the best choice when you were living in a castle? What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what makes me even more annoyed. Everything that May lays out, the fact is that Celine would rather be out on the streets, pregnant, scavenging for food, than be with Ryan. Really
I feel horrible
awful.
for Ryan.
Wow.
It also feels so out of character for her to say stuff like that. Or at least
for
to me.
May or for Celine?
For Celine, like to do that.
She's.
You don't know what pregnancy hormones do to a woman, though.
Just that, though. I mean, if you look back at Celine's actions and I really just pay attention, she has said things like this before. Celine has shown that she has this, even when she's not in the spiral. So for me personally, it didn't feel out of character, but it just feels like a writer was sick of her BS and didn't want, you know what I mean? I really feel like a writer was just sick of it and wanted to lay it on the line, just how selfish and horrible she's being. And they weren't handling her with kids' gloves this time. They were just laying it out. That's what it felt like to me personally. The narrative is she's wrong. She's very wrong, and there's no excuse for it. Almost like they wanted to get the message to the young viewer, you know?
Yeah.
What she does to Ryan is just... it annoys me.
That is putting it lightly.
hmm And as for, May offering to come along with her so she can see Alex again. I mean, I like the addition of May to the mall. Really, I do. But this obsession with Lex is just... it had me rolling my eyes for a bit.
I think it's cute. It's just a nice little detail about May as a person. We know her as a remorseless thief, who will take advantage of somebody laying in a gutter. We also know that she's incredibly pragmatic from her conversation with Lex and now Celine. We know that despite her lifestyle of having to thieve and take advantage of people, she's quite good-natured regardless. And we know she's lonely. We know she was with some other outcasts.
Yeah.
She describes herself as that twice. We're outcasts, and then she tells Celine the same thing. Does people chasing Celine? I'm an outcast. What of it? But now she's alone. So there's a sense of like, she wants companionship. She doesn't want to have to be on her own, but she does what she has to do. And the idea that in the middle of all of this crap that she has to do, she can find a guy attractive and harbor a crush for him, Like, he was a pretty face. She had some fun with him. She still stole from him and ditched him, but she, held on to this. He was cute. That guy was adorable. You know what I mean? And I just thought that was actually pretty cute. Just a little detail. Like, she's such a well-rounded person.
She always made me think, as a character, I always felt she was kind of like the female version of Lex.
Yeah, I don't know what these female characters see in Lex. Because he's like, what, 5'4"?
Dog on short men.
I'm just saying.
Oh, I'd normally say the same, but those puppy eyes, it's just...
He's 5'4". He more than likely doesn't have good hygiene. I just don't get it.
I do, especially since she didn't get a chance to really know Lex. We've spent time with Lex and we know all the red flags, right? But I get why she would find him appealing, having only spent one evening with him and heard his sob story. So she got to meet him at a very vulnerable, honest time in his life and felt that connection, and I mean, she doesn't keep this crush for long. Once she gets to know Lex, she's like, oh, right, okay. I'm not fixing you. You're someone else's problem, but...
Ooh. I'm suddenly remembering that conversation Lex and May had back then. His response being, the streets are no place for a baby.
May's like, I know.
Even Lex realized that.
What, do you want I should taste it for you?
That won't be necessary.
You sure about that?
As long as you poured it yourself?
I did.
Well, that's okay then. You're the only person I can trust in this whole building. Crazy, huh? You got any suspects?
Yeah, all of them. Well, until I prove otherwise.
Well, hurry up. I have a feeling we don't have much time.
So still suspicious of her militia, Ebony begins to rely on Alice more and more, only drinking what Alice herself has poured. She orders Alice to step up her investigations, leading Alice to follow Axel and his crew to a meeting with Wolf, but she's spotted before she can learn anything of value. So yeah, panel, what do you make of Ebony's increasing worry and the danger that Alice has herself been exposed to, especially with the chosen van that we glimpse, narrowly missing grabbing Alice as she returns to the hotel?
Tension. Love it. I love the image of Ebony sitting out there, seemingly relaxed, poolside, waiting for a drink to be delivered to her. All she's missing is some people fanning her. And we've seen that happen in the past.
Yeah.
But really, it's just a front. She's just putting on this act of being confident and untouchable, or inside she's just sweating bullets, and to the point where she actually looks at her drink for a second, and she's not, when Alice jokingly is like, you want me to test it? And she's just like, no, I mean, as long as you poured it. Like, that's actually something she's concerned about, and yeah, I really like that. The crumbling infrastructure around her, and Ebony is so aware of it. And I even love what she says. We don't have much time. Because she's not wrong. This all falls apart in a couple of days, and she was the one who saw it. Because Ebony is a suspicious kind of person, so she understands what other suspicious people might do. And yeah, it's no joke.
And let's not forget in that she knows it's the Chosen who are out there. She knows Jaffa and how far Jaffa is willing to go with things. And as for her closeness with Alice, I really like how this sort of friendship gets closer and closer during this. And Ebony knows that if anyone is to be her bodyguard, Alice is the best person for the job because she's seen how Alice was with Tyson. And she herself couldn't get past that, so, best person for the job.
I like that Alice, once she heard Ebony's, what Ebony had, her breakdown of, I didn't do this, I didn't kill him. It made sense. Alice was like, yeah, that does make sense. If you had done this, why, it wouldn't have worked out this way. You would have done it so much differently. You would have been sneakier. You wouldn't have set it up for yourself to be caught this way. And how she doesn't question that there is a problem. And I just think that was interesting because Alice also has motivation to find out what this is about. She's got people she wants to protect and keep safe. And it's just, I wish, I wonder what would have happened if Alice had brought these suspicions to Bray and Danny. Probably nothing. Those two wouldn't have probably listened to her, but I kind of wish I could have seen that conversation because she does have a sister back at the mall to worry about. But maybe that is why she didn't bother to go back and tell them that she actually believes Ebony and that she thinks they're in trouble, because she knows how inefficient and ineffective Bray and Danny really are when it comes to this stuff. And so she's just she rolls up her own sleeves and takes care of it, as the oldest sibling often does in these situations. And she knows she's in a great position to find out, what kind of danger is my sister actually in? This is the best place to be, but it doesn't phase her that she's in danger. She knows this is dangerous, but it's Alice. She's just I gotta do it.
Yeah, I'll actually give Danny the benefit of the doubt. I think she tries to do much, or at least tries to help, but I think it's just Bray and the rest of the Mallrats that are just so lazy and just used to Ebony being Ebony that they're just not even going to bother. But yeah, this is a great example of two characters of Alice and Ebony who I kind of wish they shared more screen time together.
Agreed.
Yeah, they have really good chemistry, and they're arguably the strongest characters with the strongest personalities in the series. So it was kind of weird that we never got more episodes of this.
I agree. They got such a great dynamic. It's such a shame they didn't follow this through. Yeah.
Isn't it interesting when you think about pairings on the show, whether they're platonic or romantic, that some of the best are the ones we don't get enough of? And then there are ones where we get so much of it that it's hard to like it anymore. It just gets run into the ground. And I almost wonder, the curse of being a writer, do you want to leave your audience wanting more? Or do you want your audience to be just, throw it away already. We're tired of seeing this. You know what I mean? So I as much as I wish we'd seen more of Alice and Ebony, I am glad they're in the pile of, you left me wanting more because you did such a great job with them, rather than just be you guys, okay, stop trying to shove this friendship down my throat. You ruined it or something. You know what I mean? At least they're in that category.
Theirs is a believable friendship in this.
I think that's what gets me. I think because we rarely see Ebony relate so well with another female character on that level, and yeah, so I guess I did want more. I did want more. I loved what they had, but yeah, it would have been nice just to have this in the background. Just they remained kind of friends-ish.
Wonder. Now there are a lot of setups in season 2 that it's clear they didn't follow through with them in season 3. You know,
Mhm.
they just ended up having to go in a different direction for whatever reason. And I'm not going to get on their case about it. Things happen. But I get the sense that there may have been more planned for Alice and Ebony. But instead, season 3 had them completely separated the whole time. Somebody had a different idea, and that's where it went. But in the same way that there's this setup for Danny, and then she's gone. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I just get the feeling this was gonna go somewhere. You know, this bond was made for a reason, and then season 3 just never follows up on it, and that is a shame
Yeah.
because somebody put the work in with these conversations between these two
Mhm.
and gave them a good foundation to work on, and they, you know, writers of season 3 were just like, yeah, it's not the direction we want to go in, and it was wasted. You know.
Yeah, I do kind of wonder what would have happened if both of them would have made it to season 4.
I would have loved Alice in the techno season.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
And you know, I mean, for all the bad stuff that happens around Ned, because I mean, he gets involved with Ebony, and he goes to Ebony with a, "I want this machinery to make Alice happy," and you see her instant response being that it would make Alice happy and it would serve her purpose as well. And I think they could have done so much more there.
I think Alice should have been a part of the Rebels in season 3.
Mm.
I don't think they do any favors with Alice languishing at the mall.
Mm.
It just does not suit her character, you know? She literally just sits at the mall. She's not really allowed to get involved in the fight. And it just, that felt out of character. That felt like a waste of what Alice could have been doing. Imagine her being out there with Lex, and Gray, and Ebony.
While Ellie is in there.
Yeah, you know, fighting to get in that mall and save her sister. I just feel like she would have been better utilized, and then they could have continued with this Alice and Ebony storyline. But instead, they were like, "Ooh, Beth Allen's coming back." So
Oh, I want that. I want this story.
I do wonder if it had something to do with that.
Ebony was like, "Oh no, we were gonna do something really cool with you, but instead we need you to be the evil witch in this like fairy tale romance that went wrong." You know, it's just. And Alice, you're just going to stay at the mall doing nothing.
Mm-hmm. Because we can't have other strong women out there if we're bringing Amber back. Except for
Not when there's a love story and drama to be had.
And the eternal triangles.
It would have been nice though to have another person in that group, like because you got Ebony, Bray, and Amber, blah 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 blah. But then you have Lex, and then you could have Alice. And it could have worked. I don't get it.
No. They would have made too much sensical decisions.
Chips that you've spent a season working on.
It's all those might have beens.
Yeah, I can't get out of my head now. I would have loved to have seen her with the Rebels. That would have been fantastic.
Mm-hmm. With the Rebels, and well, come on, Alice versus Ram.
She would have destroyed Ram.
That boy would have gone over her shoulders, kicking and screaming.
Okay, Alice, I love you so much, but you are not stealthy. I can't believe the militia caught her so easily. Alice!
Yeah.
She played it off well, but Alice, come on.
Her best options is hiding in plain sight.
No, I just want to see her carrying a bush in front of her. Sneaking up to the militia. It's nothing. It's just a bush. It's fine.
And then the fact that she spots them with Wolf without knowing what Wolf is really like.
Nice scene, because we know Wolf can't be trusted. Like, we know. But, of course, why would Alice think there's anything suspicious about them talking to Wolf? She's aware of this guy. She knows he's around. He's the one who brought them news that the Chosen were finished, you know, and has proven himself to be a good guy as far as Alice is concerned. So I actually really like that, because we have that information and she doesn't. And them literally meeting with Wolf is the proof she needs. She just doesn't know it. You know what I mean? I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Just makes me wonder, because she knows Wolf was the one who told Ellie that the Chosen were finished. And she and Ebony know that the Chosen aren't finished. I just wonder why she didn't put 2 and 2 together.
If Alice fully believes either way about the Chosen, I think she has a healthy bit of skepticism about it, you know, and she's more just, and I think from Alice's point of view, it's not that Ebony's 100% right and the Chosen are still out there. It's more that there's something going on. And I'm in a position to find out what it is, where, obviously Ebony's like, they're not finished. They're out there. I can feel Jaffa breathing down on my neck right now, I think Alice, it's more like, I believe her that there's something going on, that this is not lining up. This isn't fitting. But I don't know if Alice is in the same head frame of like, oh no, the Chosen are definitely out there.
And that Chosen fan just narrowly missing grabbing her. It's just, part of me is just going, I kind of wanted to see them try.
They filmed those black vans so well in this season because they feel so ominous and dangerous. Like they're just shot really, really well, and you get that, like, your hackles and your hair stands up on end every time you see one of them coming. Like, run! You mofo's gotta run! This is bad! There's a clown in there!
Like the comments are like, oh, how can they not hear the van? But I do agree, it's so ominous that you can kind of push that way because it is well done.
Yeah, you think someone would have talked about that van before? Now, granted, a lot of people who've seen it have been kidnapped, but I feel like it'll be so hard to see from or so easy to see from a distance.
See, that's why they have to disappear, because the van leaves no witnesses. Like, they don't know how kids are disappearing. They don't know it's a van snatching kids off the street. Just people are going missing.
Heck, they might as well have used a van that said free ice cream, because people would have, willingly gone in it.
Van is a creeper.
I was fun in it.
Funny to consider that they can't hear the van. This is a very quiet world at this point. You don't even have the hum of electricity.
Yes.
And like, this is a vehicle. You'd hear that stuff. You're like, oh my gosh, is that an engine?
You'd hear it for miles. It's like...
I like that the van tiptoes. I think that's fantastic. You can barely hear its tires on the asphalt. It's fantastic.
It'd be really funny if the van was like offering Tribe fans unreleased scenes of moments they wish they had. Then I'm pretty sure every fan would have went in that van to like, look, you can actually see Bray and Ebony have a relationship. I want to see.
It's true. Yeah, we would all fall victim to the van if it promised stuff like that. Yep. I would fall victim to the van. Bray and Trudy get together? I'm coming!
What are you looking at me for? Because you're the one who's been picking the fights. Me? What are you talking about? The Jackals. Yesterday. Or can't you remember that far back? I was doing my job as head of security. Billy Boy is trouble. He always has been.
Look, I think we're all just getting a little bit jumpy.
And scared. People are getting kidnapped all over the city.
Not in here, they're not. Outside? Well, I don't know what Ebony's doing.
She's blaming the Chosen, that's what.
That's just an excuse. The Chosen are finished.
So they say, but we still need to keep on guard all the same.
The Morats are confused when nobody turns up to the market until Celine returns and relates her run-in with the Smile. The Smile then turn up at the mall themselves, accusing Lex of murdering Billy Boy, which he denies, but the scene erupts into a brawl when an angry Ryan attacks the Smile for targeting Celine. So yeah, panel, what did you make of the fight here and the parallels between Lex's situation with Billy Boy and Ebony's with Spike, which is obviously the Chosen's plan here?
An alibi, you know what I mean? But it just adds to that further confusion and discord and a lot of understandable conversations, but they're annoying conversations. For Bray, we know why Bray and Danny look at Lex and be like, "What did you do?" and assume that him starting something with Billy Boy is what's caused all this. And that's annoying because we know, no, that's not what's going on, you guys. Just freaking open your eyes. There's something else going on. But I don't think it's really comparable because I don't feel like the Chosen are targeting Lex for a setup. It just worked out in their favor because they were going to take out Billy Boy regardless of, he and Lex's conflict. It's a bonus for them. It's part of the chaos they want to cause.
Is it though? Is it an added bonus? I mean, they would have always taken Billy Boy, but if Trudy heard about the threat that Lex made to him previously, I think that might have been useful information for Jaffa.
Yeah, but we know she didn't have time to relay that information to Jaffa. Like, there's just no time in between her overhearing that conflict between Lex and Billy Boy and getting to Jaffa or even Wolf and telling them, like, I do think it's a coincidence. Billy Boy, that's why she says Billy Boy better watch himself.
Yeah.
She already knew. Billy Boy's already on the chopping block. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel that that was a target from Jaffa because of Lex. More just, it just worked out in their favor. But that's
Happy little accident.
right. That's how I personally feel. But I just feel like they might have shown that if that was the case. I just because of how good they've been about showing those kind of scenes, I feel we would have seen her either talking to Wolf or Jaffa and relaying that information if they wanted us to feel that the Chosen were targeting Lex and setting him up as well.
As for the parallels between Lex's situation with Billy Boy and Ebony's with Spike, I think it comes to show that if you're the kind of person who has a reputation of doing horrible things, people are more likely to believe you actually did. Or at least entertain the thought for a second.
It's just a great illustration of what the Chosen are doing. This conversation that the Mallrats are having, I can imagine other tribes having this conversation when people are going missing.
Yeah.
You know, I just think the havoc, the chaos, it's just really great because people are pointing fingers at each other. Occam's razor. If Billy Boy has suddenly disappeared and they want to ignore the very obvious threat.
Did anyone notice how, like, abusive Ryan became, like, out of nowhere? It kind of was like, it was so random and so kind of like scary to watch, and I'm kind of like, well, maybe Celine shouldn't be with Ryan.
No. Ryan goes into protecting berserk mode. We see him do these things. Yeah, but he only does it when he's angry and trying to protect someone.
No one needed protection, though. Not at that moment.
It's because they had attacked Celine. They tried to attack.
Yeah.
Celine. Why he sees red. It's his weakness. He goes completely red and just loses it.
Yeah, I see it from both sides. I do agree that it was very clearly provoked from Ryan's need to protect someone he cares about. But I agree with Carlin. This violence coming out of Ryan is disturbing.
Yeah.
You know, it's one thing to become protective. It's another to physically attack people when you feel threatened or someone you love is threatened. And I agree with him that in this moment, nobody is actually being threatened. It's more he's just pissed that they attacked her or went after her in the first place. And this is an over-the-top reaction to that. But, you know, it just speaks to the fact that Ryan hasn't dealt with any of his anger, and it's coming out like this, you know. And, of course, they have to tack it on because they need to remind us that as angry as Ryan is and how indifferent he's been behaving, he's still deeply in love with Celine. They need that set up so that Celine can do what she's going to do. You know, it's a reminder, hey, kids, he still very much cares about her. He's triggered by the idea of Celine being in danger. Because he loves her, you know, and even if he's pretending he's not glad to see her, look he just punched a girl for her.
Yeah, what did you make of that fight?
Sorry, they were annoying. They had it coming. I have no sympathy for the smile in this. Just, nope.
I like how it's Ryan who drags Lex into a fight. Lex is like, oh, okay, this is what we doing now? All right, fine. You know, he actually needs a second. Like, oh, I didn't need to fight them, but
but okay,
that's what we're doing. Sure.
Yeah, it was just weird. I mean, it clearly, at least I felt like it wasn't a fair fight, but I don't know.
It evens out, to be honest. You know, I think it's an egalitarian fight. The Smile can clearly handle themselves. I mean, they were Billy's bodyguard, so it's established that they could fight you. They could take you on. And they're the ones who started it. So, and it's 3 of them against the 2 boys. So for me, I feel like it evens out.
I guess.
I think they revel a little too much in the violence.
But just think about it. I mean, sure, they haven't shown us how good the smile really is in a fight, but if you would consider them having Java-level skills at fighting, you'd probably have found it fair. And for them to be the bodyguards of Billy Boy, they'd have to have such skills.
Mm.
I just think it's funny that none of the other jackals even got involved.
Nope. They're like, we're staying out of this.
They've literally been trailing after these girls, just looking for Billy Boy, and just going out of their minds listening to them sing everywhere they go. They probably don't even think Lex had anything to do with it, because they didn't say anything to say, yeah, you took our leader. It's the Smile doing all the talking. And right now they're planning their escape. Like, you know what? If Billy Boy doesn't come back by dinner, we're ditching them.
Mm-hmm.
We're changing the locks, all right?
Or at least getting earplugs.
Because for a warrior tribe, the jackals are pretty calm and tame. Maybe they thought Billy Boy had a big mouth. They were like, he's always causing trouble. We just want to trade stereos, man.
Mm-hmm.
Got us kicked out of the marketplace. Jeez. Hired these fruitcakes. Come on, Billy Boy. I've been questioning his choices for a long time. I think we're better off without him.
I mean it, Ryan. I know I hurt you, but I do love you. Truly, I do.
What about him?
That's all over and done with now. It's just a silly phase. There was nothing to it.
That's not how it looked to me. Seemed to me like you always had the hots for Bray.
Yeah, maybe once, but not anymore. I only want you.
After the fight, Celine thanks Ryan and apologizes to him, but he doesn't stay to talk. Later on that, she tells him that Bray was just a phase and asks forgiveness, telling him that she really does want to marry him, but in the final shot we see that she clearly isn't happy with this decision. So yeah, how do you feel about Celine's continued manipulation of Ryan?
Celine, you're a garbage person.
Yeah.
Kudos to Victoria. She acted her butt off in this, playing such a horrible, horrible person. She was so good. So good. That's part of why it lands so well. You know what I mean? Because Victoria was just she was in it. You know what I mean? She ate up this. But what she's doing, there's just, come at me. There's no excuse for what Celine is doing. None.
Nope.
There really isn't. And especially since we know that even if she wouldn't want to be with him, if she told him she's having a baby, he'd be there for her no matter or at least for the child, no matter what would have happened. I mean, it's not like Ryan would have said, oh, well, if you're not going to be with me, then tough luck to the kid. Ryan would have always been there for that child. And Celine knows that.
Yep.
So it's horrible.
It illustrates how narcissistic Celine really is. She's not doing this for the baby. Because I know there's people who would make that argument that, well, people have lied about pregnancies before because, the other partner didn't want the baby. And so they wanted to sneak it in there, to ensure the child had that father or that mother, whatever. It's hard to have this conversation without dogging on men. I don't want to do that, but in this specific situation, since it's the female who's carrying the baby, that has happened. There are women who thought he doesn't want the baby, so I'm scared he won't help me with the baby if he knows about the baby right away. But as Sabine has pointed out, it has been fully established that that's not something Ryan would do. So that is an unnecessary lie or bit of information to leave out. Completely unnecessary. Celine makes it very clear about everything she says to Ryan and what she was saying to May. This is about her. And it's even worse because she wants to ensure Ryan's forgiveness and Ryan's love and devotion to her. But why? She doesn't even want him. She doesn't even love him. Why is she dragging him back into a relationship that she does not want when it's not necessary to ensure her child has a father?
Mm.
I do wonder about that because there's this tiny part of me that just hopes and truly wants to believe that she's doing this so the child could have a complete family. Grow up with two parents together, even if she's unhappy herself. But I've seen too much about Celine and what she's up to
Mhm.
that I can't even give her that. I mean, I could give her that little bit of she wants, a real family for this child, but there's so much other little details about why she wants it because it's best for her. It's in her best interest, not in anyone else's.
Just don't get why she would do this when she doesn't want Ryan, that she would be miserable with him. Every second of being with him makes her miserable because the spark is gone. And that happens. I understand. I'm not villainizing her for that. I had one of the greatest boyfriends ever when I was like 16 years old. He never did anything wrong. You guys, he brought me a cupcake on my birthday at school and with the candle and everything. And when I went home with the flu, he came by with an air sick bag full of candy, my favorite candies. Like you can eat the candy and then you can throw up in the bag. He was perfect. And I still just stopped liking him. No reason. And all of a sudden, when he did touch me, I felt ick. I get that, Celine. That doesn't make you a bad person. So why would you trick him, manipulate him back into a relationship that you do not want? You don't need to do this. You'd be there for the baby. You know this. You said it yourself that he'd want this baby more than anything. And you know, Ryan, you guys could co-parent easily in that mall with this child without the burden of both you being in an unhappy relationship. So why is your narcissism pushing you there? Because it looks good? Because it's the postcard of the perfect family? So you can make him miserable with you? Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there. I don't understand why she wants this. Ryan would be there for her regardless. I don't get it. I don't.
Again, it just feels out of character for me, for Celine to do any of this.
How? How does it feel out of character for her?
Because it just seems like, I don't know, I just don't feel like she would do this after everything I've seen.
Really? I mean, every season we see that she needs a crutch, she needs something to lean on to. But the situation here, she doesn't need to be in this relationship to hang on to Ryan. If you see what I mean. I don't get why.
Yeah. I mean, Ryan would be more involved in this child's life, and he would take better care of this child than we've ever seen Bray take care of Brady.
It's not fair.
I agree with that.
Brady's not his. He doesn't have to take care of her.
I know, but even when the girls assumed that baby was Bray's, they've seen how Bray is for that child, and Ryan would she knows he would do that better. So there's just simply no reason.
She does give us a reason, which again, it just speaks to her narcissism. In season 3, Ryan confronts her. Why didn't you tell me about the baby? And she straight up says, I didn't want you to marry me for the baby. I wanted you to marry me for me. Again, I still don't know why she wanted Ryan to marry her, but it's very clear this was about Celine. It's like her narcissism couldn't handle the idea that Ryan would be there, but not because he loved her, even though she doesn't love him, doesn't want him. So I don't know why she'd want his love, but it's the narcissism, She needed that. She needed him to come back to her.
And I kind of get that, because she knows that if she would have told Ryan about the baby, he would have instantly proposed to her again, and she would not have known if it was for her because he wanted to be with her or because he felt that was what he should do.
That would make sense if Celine was still in love with Ryan. If Celine was like, I love this man and I want him to love me for me. But she doesn't love him. She doesn't want him. So it's like, even though I know she's doing it for her selfish needs, I don't know why she needs this.
Confirmation of her own self-worth.
Because she's going to be nothing but miserable after this. And then she's going to make him miserable and punish him for manipulating him into a relationship that she doesn't even want.
This is what I don't get.
And then playing victim. Like, oh, boo-hoo, what have I done? Man, it's like, you didn't have to do any of this. You could have just been like, look, Ryan, I have something to tell you. I know you're mad at me. I know you don't want to talk to me, but you deserve to know this. We're pregnant, That's why I came back. And so we have to deal with this. We have to get along because I'm going to have a baby. We're going to have a baby. And she could have avoided the whole awful relationship that she don't want, and he deserves better, and whatever, you know? And yeah, that's messy, but it's like, there's never a moment that you think that Celine wants the relationship. If there was, then you could say she's conflicted, you know, because she still cares about him and she still thinks maybe we could make this work. My dad left. Maybe it's because my mom didn't try hard enough or whatever. And you could argue that, but she doesn't want this.
No.
Yeah, it's just a horrible, horrible situation that she put herself in.
My heart goes out to Ryan for all his flaws and all the criticisms. I will happily give him because it's my favorite thing to do. It makes me angry to see anybody manipulated this way. Ryan does not deserve to be pulled into a relationship where this person doesn't love him. And just the hypocrisy. I need you to love me, but I don't love you. You know what I mean? Like, I need you to marry me for love, but I'm marrying you for personal gain. Are you? Ooh. And then for Ryan to really believe it, to think, oh my gosh, she loves me, you know, and there's a chance we got over the hump, only to find himself like in doubt and miserable and not understanding what's going on with his partner. And I'm just like, to all those who've had this done to you, I am so sorry. Whoa. He deserved. It'd be one thing if she told him, I'm having a baby first, and Ryan proposed, because that would be on Ryan. He would be making that decision knowing full, like, okay, she's having a baby. She hasn't said she loves me, but I want to give this a go. Then you could say that Ryan went in at least, like, you know, face first, face towards the sun. I know what I'm getting into. I'm making this decision. But that's not what happened. He only proposes again because she says she regrets saying no.
Mm-hmm. She's like, oh, I'd say things differently if I had the chance. Like, oh, God. Such a manipulation. Like,
And he was like, oh, great. She just had some things to work through. Bray was a phase.
A phase, yeah.
Zandra, in her most delusional state about Lex, wasn't willing to use her pregnancy as a way to rekindle their relationship. Zandra.
Yeah, that's true.
Zandra, the original Barbie girl, wasn't willing to use the sprog in her womb as a way to be with Lex. Even she knew that's not a relationship. That's not how that works.
Mm-hmm.
That is so true, yeah.
She was worried about, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this on my own? But she wasn't like, hey, be with me, Lex, because we have a baby. No, he had to work for that, you know, a little bit. But she still loved him. You know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh. She only told him she was pregnant because he was dying and she thought he deserved to know. But for me, this is in character, because I watched this girl see somebody try to unalive themselves and leave them there for hours and feel nothing until she saw everyone else's reaction to it. And only then did she realize this was a bad idea. I'm a horrible person. Only then did it hit her. That was a horrible thing to do. It took hours. So to me, this is very in character.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying Trudy didn't deserve it, but that's a messed up thing to do.
All this food. And hot.
Least we could do for bringing Celine back.
Heat up. Plenty more where that came from. We grow it, you know.
I don't believe it. Whose food is this? Everybody's. The tribe's.
We share everything here.
Everything?
Well, all our food, anyway.
So Tai-San still doesn't feel comfortable resuming her relationship with Lex while Alice is still hurting. But after May openly flirts with Lex in front of the rest of the tribe, she confronts him about whether he slept with her. So, yeah, simple question here, panel. Is Tai-San's anger here justified?
No.
No. Absolutely not.
No!
It's hilarious to see, though.
This is Danny being like, you had a relationship before me?
You touched a girl? Ew.
Impure! No, it's not justified. It's just her being irrationally jealous. That's all that is. Love it. There's no discussion. Just no, it's not justified.
Nope. It's fun to see, though, her being this jealous.
There's actually something very funny about him, coming in and he's trying to work on this, and she's like, "No, I can't because my friend is in pain, and we can't be a relationship until we fix that, and that's honorable." But then when he calls her out, yeah, something may have happened between me and May, which, by the way, Caleb did a fantastic job. I love Lex in this scene. How honest he is. I love how he's like, "Well, she said we did." I was in a pretty messed up place. I woke up next to a goat. Anything could have happened, I love that he doesn't try to deny it or anything. And then he's just the way she acts as though finding out about May is the reason this isn't happening anymore. Well, now it's over. Okay.
Yeah, that's out of place too. I don't like that episode.
Because for everything Tai-San has been, whether you liked her actions or not, she was rational by her own reasoning. You may not have agreed, you may have been like, "I wouldn't do that," but it was rational. And so it is interesting to see her act irrationally because she's having these emotions for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we did see how she responded when Trudy cooked Lex dinner. She didn't like that this much either, but not at this level.
Something interesting that I noticed in season 1 about Tai-San and Amber, that they had this in common. These emotions were ones they never wanted to deal with because of how they make you feel and how you act on those feelings. Amber avoided them, and Tai-San did too. And then, of course, when they gave in and allowed themselves to feel these emotions, and you see that change in them, how overwhelmed and irrational they become because of these feelings, which was the thing they were trying to avoid in the first place. And many of us would want to avoid the messiness of emotion in general, But I mean, it's just a part of the experience. It makes her more human. Even if Lex is looking at her like, are you freaking serious? Woman, I'm trying to be a better man. But I also like that Lex he's having to work for this. Because he deserves to have to work for it after all of the chaos and awful things that he has caused and done.
Yeah.
He shouldn't just have an easy go of it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's completely fair that Lex is going through the trenches for a nice because he's had easy love handed to him, and we saw how he treated that easy love. He has to earn this love, and he's better for it.
That brings us to our final thoughts of the episode.
Lex!
What?
Oh my god! What is this? What's she doing here?
What's wrong?
She's with the Chosen.
Yeah, we know. She escaped.
What do you mean escaped? She's not just with the Chosen. She's the Supreme Mother.
So whilst May attempts to seduce Lex, but he turns her down, admitting that he's in love with someone else. But when she leaves, she encounters a watching Trudy and alerts Lex to the fact that Trudy wasn't just held captive by the Chosen, she was their Supreme Mother. So yeah, what do you make of May's revelation? How do you think it would have been received?
First of all, I love that Trudy is just standing at that door, waiting for May to come out and see her. As if she wasn't watching this. Reveling in the chaos she managed, and wondering what she could do with this now. And then May screaming for Lex with a she was with the Chosen, and Lex instantly going, "Yeah, we know." Like, what's the big deal, woman? I love how they played it.
I love that little tidbit because it's easy to miss, because I missed it a lot why Trudy leaves her room. She's got a fussy baby to take care of, but she's very impatient to get out of that room and go find May. And it's really easy to miss that's what she's doing, that she's seeking out May, because she recognized May just as much as May ends up recognizing her. She's like, I gotta have words with this person who could easily give me up. And I love that because if you're not paying attention, you could miss that. You could think, she just needs to get away from a crying baby and take a quick walk before she shook it to death. You know what I mean? Like that. Anybody who's had a baby knows that feeling. I need to put you down and get, recalibrate my brain before I hurt you, baby. You're not even mine. I don't even like you, baby. And it's really easy to miss that she went looking for May. I thought that was awesome. I love that scene between Lex and May. My favorite is that pause he has to make before deciding he will not sleep with her. No, I am in love with another girl. I'm working on this. I love that. There's just a tiny hesitation. I thought that was a fantastic detail. And just get out of the room before any trouble starts. I'm already having a hard enough time getting this girl to be with me. Get out. And I think it says something about May's reaction to Trudy. The acting could have been done a little better, but what stands out to me is that May has been shown to be very good on her feet. And in this moment, her only reaction is to freeze in fear. That says so much about her experience with The Chosen in that short amount of time.
Yeah.
She went to The Chosen with a group of people. And as far as we know, she's the only one we've seen come back. And when she sees Trudy, she completely freezes up, scared to death, screaming for help. We already know May can handle herself. She's been shown to be fearless and gregarious, and I can take it, whatever you throw at me. And she's terrified as soon as she sees Trudy. And I'm just like, wow. Like, this is more about The Chosen than season 3 ever could have. And imagine that. You gotta picture yourself being in May's shoes. She went off someplace that she thought they would be taken care of. They'd get food and shelter and care and all that stuff. And she booked it out of there. She'd rather live in a dumpster than stay there. And so she finds a safe haven amongst the mall rats, the lords of the city, living good. She can't believe they even have food at their disposal. It's so good there. And then she thinks, oh my gosh, are you guys in with The Chosen? Are you a part of that crazy cult? Her reaction just is like, wow. It's
Yeah, this is why Trudy, in my opinion, is the greatest character of all time. She's hardly in this episode, and yet she has the best moment.
Trudy's expression was like, I knew you were going to be a problem. You're so lucky Lex is here. No witnesses. Where's the van when I need it?
She looks more annoyed at May than she ever did at Chloe. Did anyone else feel it was perfect that May called out for Lex that loudly, though?
Screaming for help. That's the point.
Yeah.
Anybody, get out of bed. Get you and your drawers out here. I'm not taking her on by myself. She was willing to stand up to a tribe who's looking for someone that she shouldn't care about. By all means, she shouldn't care about Celine, but she was willing to stand up for her anyway, fearlessly. And yet when she saw Trudy, she crumbled and called backup. That is a great way to instill fear in your antagonist, That's how scary they were. That's how horrible her experience was with them.
It's just, for some reason, I always loved the way she said those last words. She's not just with The Chosen. She's the Supreme Mother.
Yeah, a lot of weight in those words.
Yeah.
Definitely a top moment in the series, for sure.
Trudy looks like she's thinking, you're so lucky there's a witness.
And also look with a, oh man, how am I going to get myself out of this one?
So like it as a cliffhanger, because you're like, is this Trudy finally being exposed? Yeah. Maybe they'll be able to stop The Chosen threat after all. Who knows?
After all these years, I normally try to specifically just watch the one episode before we do the podcast. But with this one, I just could not help myself. I needed to see what happened after this. What conversation they had again.
Yeah, I had to remind myself. Oh, how did she get out of this?
She was going to that Rolodex personality. She'd have to fall back on. Which one will get me out of this mess?
That brings Series 2, Episode 46 to a close. Thank you very much to the panel. And if you'd like to take part in a future episode of the podcast, please send us a message on our Facebook page or on our website, thetribe.co.uk. So we'll see you next time for episode 47. Until then, bye.
Later.
Bye.